He bought 50 coffees, and is Matt O'Rourke here? Last one, Matt O'Rourke brought 20 cartons of eggs. Phenomenal effort. This is not about me, this is about you guys. All of you guys that bring the food is just so good. Now I've got my man Andre Moore, big round of applause for the big man himself. Now the reason I chose Andre to come and speak is because we play basketball down at Wizards there at Zumia, and Andre's got a lot of young lads that follow him around, and he's just a pillar of the community, you know, like he's doing his thing, and so I really love and respect that. Another guy doing his thing, Suki Singh, he's one of the Fitzgibbon locals. He's a gold and silver trader, and he does a few other things. The reason why we're all safe here is because he's got a big sheath under his belt. So if we have trouble tonight, he's taking care of all of us. We've got Paul Dwyer, most eccentric man here. Give him some love. He can help you with your business. He can. Good. Now I've got a few people here that I've been working on for a long time, and this is their first time here. Clinton Hayden is one of those boys. Put your hand up, Clint. He's so humble. And Reese Kyle behind him. Big love to you, Reese. Quick story. When I was 14 years old, I was going to Banyo High, one of the roughest schools of its time. And a band from the Netherlands, Estonia, America, and who cares where else? Canada, same thing. Came and played at Banyo High during lunch. Gave away CDs, real givers, you know. And they were called Perry and the Poor Boys, and they're an incredible rock band. Very similar in the ilk of R.E.M. at the time, and maybe a little more rock. If any of you guys have got really young kids like Bolton, beautiful Bolton, if you come here at 2 o'clock tomorrow, they're going to throw a kids and families concert, completely free. They're just here to love on Australia. It's amazing. Who else did I want to touch? I'm going to forget someone. Shoot, hey, the Can-Do Coconut. Throw your hand up, big fella. You've got all incredible people here. One person I want you to think about for the next coming months is Simon Penrose. Yep. Is standing here smashing a coffee. He's got throat cancer, so he's got a few interesting months ahead of him, and he might need you, you know? But one day you might need him. He's in real estate. Big shout out to you, big fella. Absolutely love you, man. We're coming into some pretty hard times, I think. You know, interest rates are up. Some weird factors going on. It feels kind of weird in the air. A lot of people are talking about the fall of the Roman Empire, have you noticed? And it feels like Western culture has lost a lot of good things. And the gathering of men and sharing ideas and rubbing shoulders against each other and iron sharpening iron, which is never fun. But when you are sharpened by your mate, you become a better man, and that's what's happening here. In the coming years, you are going to need possibly the man standing next to you, or someone else here, or someone else in your life. There's a guy here that's gone bankrupt. He's losing his house in 2 weeks' time. I won't tell you who he is. He's going to be okay because he has me, and he's got several other of you. I've got a few guys here that have lost their wives. I've got a guy here that lost his wife literally. She died of cancer. We've got 2 sons. We're coming into some interesting times. So you are going to need the guy standing next to you. When you're in the NBA, I can tell you about this because in my head, I'm amazing. And I walk onto the field and I'm staring down Jordan and Pippen and some other losers that you probably never heard of. I need to walk on with a team of men that don't look like me. I need a centre, I need a point guard, I need a few freaks, I need backup on the bench, and I need a coach. And it is said that in Western culture, in America in particular, I'll use that, it's probably the same for Australia, 76% of men do not have a best friend. So forget about your crew, forget about your gang, forget about your basketball team. Some of you guys here don't have a best friend, and that is disgraceful, and you might need one. And so you don't just need a best friend, you also need a team around you. If you could just stand up for a second, size 18 shoes. You might need an Andre Moore, you need a centre. I've got one. Where's Jake Goldsmith? Where are you, big fella? Stand up. I've got a lot of beautiful boys here. Jake is one of my most beautiful. They say good things don't come out of Bray Park. They're lying. Forget Banyo High, Bray Park's even rougher. 120 kilos of absolute, you're going to get beaten by my team. Thank you, Jake. Andre Moore, I would say, is Queensland's third most famous basketballer behind Leroy.
Leroy who?
Correct answer. And Baines. So after a few of these gigs, I want him to, get up there. And it doesn't matter. Baines and Leroy can't do what Andre does. Every one of you is an individual, and every one of you has gifts that only you have. And I'm going to hand the mic over to Andre, and he's going to give you a ton of love from up high.
Thank you, man.
Thank you very much, Hudson. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Hudson for inviting me along to this event, and I'm overwhelmed by the turnout. Obviously, you said you had a lot of great friends. I'm sure you're the best friend of all these guys as well too. So thank you for having me along. And then I secondly have to thank, I'd like to give my respects to not just the original indigenous owners of the land that we gathered on, but also the original owners of the people who helped build this country. From all different other places, Europe, America, all that. There's been a lot of people that have helped build this country, but the original owners of the land, I love it. I want to pay my respects to them as well too. So, wow, where do I start here? Just tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, I didn't realize it was such a long trip. I live on the south side of Brisbane, western suburbs, Forest Lake, and I actually had to pack a breakfast to come to a breakfast. So I didn't think that was a long trip to get here, but it was worth it. It was worth it to get up in the morning to be a part of this thing. I just want to tell you guys a little bit about myself, and share some stories about my career and open it up to questions. If you have questions and answers, I'd like to acknowledge my mate Tim here, who's visiting from New Zealand, from Queenstown. He's if you want a good accountant, this gentleman right here is the guy to see. Tim Wilshire here.
Thanks.
All right, so where do I start at? Wow, Australia. This is my land. This is my home here. I was brought here way back in 1990 by a great gentleman by the name of Brian Curl, who's a Hall of Fame coach. And what happened was he saw me playing in America. He was actually looking for imports to bring over to replace the guys who were there previously. Back then, you were only allowed 2 imported players. And he'd already picked out his little point guard, a little pocket rocket guy by the name of Derek Rucker. And Derek went on to do some great things in this country. He's still doing great things. And he needed a big guy. So what happened was they went over, the coaching staff went over to America to watch a particular guy that they had in mind. This is before the internet, this is 1989. And the game that they went to watch him play, my team just happened to be in town playing against this team. We flogged them, to say the least. We flogged them, and I was matched up with the guy that they were looking at. So apparently, what the story goes, their attention went from, get that guy, who is this guy, And then after the game, I go in the locker room to get dressed, And my coach comes in and says, "Hey man, he was an African American guy. He was talking real cool. He's like, hey my man, there's some guys out from Brisbane, Australia out there. They're interested in you." I'm like, Brisbane, Australia, It was, at that time, in 1989, the only thing I knew about Australia was this guy named Crocodile Dundee. It was a great movie. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm trying to put my head around it. I'm thinking it's all Outback over here. I'm like, where do they put the hoop set? And they got these dark guys like me who run around with, paint on their faces and little long cloths and all that type of stuff. I thought it was all kind of Outbackish and all that. So what I did was because to this day reading's my very favorite pastime. Even to this day, I went to my local library and got myself an atlas out and looked this place up. This is before the internet, you young fellas. You guys know what an atlas is? Do you know what a book is? You know what a smartphone is, right? Before smartphones, went to the local library, got myself an atlas. I looked this place up called Brisbane, which I found out was actually pronounced Brisbane. And I'm looking at the atlas. I'm like, wow, this looks pretty cool. There's a place called Gold Coast over here. There's Sunshine Coast, and all these cool names. And the Cayman, what was the other island? There was Dunk Island. I saw that place. Basketball. Obviously, that caught my attention. And based off of what I read, I said I'll come over for a year and give it a go. So I cleaned up a lot of business I had, in America, and I broke up with a young lady that I was with at the time. She had that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that another time. Anyway, we broke up. So if you're gonna break up with somebody, what's the furthest place you can go to get away from her, right? So it worked out really good. So I packed up my bags, and like the Beverly Hillbillies, moved to Beverly. Now I came on down here and had a great first season with the Bullets. We went to the grand finals, barely lost to the Perth Wildcats. Whole other story we don't want to talk about right now. But individually that year, we made history with the Bullets when we myself, Leroy Loggins, and Derek Rucker were the first time 3 players from one team made the All NBL team for the actual competition, which was quite a great honor that I still really cherish. The other major thing that happened during that time, after that first season with the Bullets, was I was fortunate enough to win an award called the Vince Hickey Memorial Award that the team gives out at the end of the season for the player who does a lot of community work. I was always taught, as a youngster, and I'll talk about that in a little while, to give back to the community that supports you. So when I came to this country, first thing I was thinking was on my flight over here that I wanted to make an impact, not just on the basketball court, but off the court. Get to know people, be personable, ingratiate myself in the community. And I did that. I was visiting, Model Hospital, a lot of the elderly homes, just going, just making myself accessible to people, which is all about giving back to the community that would support me. And as a result, this award came on with the Bullets at the end of the year that was sponsored by a gentleman by the name of Victor Di Pasquale. You probably know, some of you guys might remember the Di Pasquale is really, yeah, it's my guy, little Victor. He was a great supporter for the club. So the award was the same prizes that the MVP, who was Derek Rucker that particular year on our team. Derek was actually MVP of the whole league. Yeah. So the award, what it involved was a trip for 2 to Hawaii, gold watch, bunch of money, big trophy, all that type, a lot of material stuff. That stuff was all fine and dandy. The gold watch is still, I still have that. The money's gone, obviously. I've been married, a couple times, so the trip, I was able to take the trip over to Hawaii with a very, very lovely Aussie lady. That was a great time. Yeah, we didn't see much of Hawaii, as a matter of fact. We saw anyway. That's one of the stories about too. But apart from all the material things that came out of it, the main thing that came out of it was after I won this community award, I was approached by a lot of people in the community about. A lot of organizations in the community wanted me to be their face of their community, wanted me to be a part of them. And I chose to align myself with the Queensland Teachers Credit Union at the time. which was based at down in the valley. It used to be down in the valley of the Queensland Teachers Credit Union. And what they did, they built a program around me where I would go into schools all across the city and parts of the Gold Coast, and I would do a 2-part program where I would do talks to kids about peer pressure, staying off of drugs and alcohol, and all the positive things. Not getting involved with, being all the positive things that you want kids to be involved with. And then the second part of the program was to go take the kids down to the courts and work on their basic fundamental skills and have some fun shooting games. So that program took a life of its own. It was, at the time, it was called the Keyway program. And still running that program 34 years later today. I've obviously advanced it and taken it to different parts of the country. I've taken it to the Cape York region with a lot of indigenous communities, to places like Mornington Island and Doomadgee and all that. Of course, all over Brisbane as well too. So that program is now called the Big Feet program. I call it Big Feet, as a play on words, because it's big F-E-A-T. Wear the size 18 shoes, but it's also about big feet. What big feet you as a person want to accomplish in life. That's what it's all about. So a friend of mine and I, we brainstormed and came up with that name, and I thought it was pretty clever, So still take that program now, and I run it all over the place, and I'm still, to this day, playing the game of basketball that I love. I just recently returned from Argentina. I'll actually be 60 in July, my next birthday. So I'm still feeling good, about myself. And the reason I'm not afraid to tell how old I am, because I feel real good, because I look after myself. And because we have a men's group here, when Hudson was first telling me that we're going to have an all men's thing, I'm like, wait, I'm thinking, what's that group called?
Proud Boys.
No, the boys that take the singing group, Village People. I'm thinking Village People. I'm thinking, wait a minute, all boys?
Sausage Fest.
Yeah, Sausage Fest, that type of stuff, yeah. But then he said, no, it's all cool, man, But it's all about, like I said, giving it back to the community that involves you. So let me go. I started from the front, where we are now. Let me go all the way back to where I come from. I come from the third largest city. I'm in the third largest city now, here in Brisbane. I was born in the third largest city in America, which is Chicago, Illinois. The young fella, I grew up in a very tough neighborhood called Altgeld Gardens, predominantly black neighborhood. Everywhere around me there was poverty, and there was, I would have to walk out of my house. There was always a drunk person on the footpath, or I would walk to school. You see needles in the grasses, and just a lot of drugs, alcohol, all that type of stuff. But my mother, who was a very young mother, Jeanette's her name. She did a great job, I think, of keeping us away from, shielded away from a lot of that stuff. We had a small radius that we had to cover, that we couldn't go past from the house. We weren't able to just go out and just roam the area and all that, which would give us a worse chance of getting in trouble. My mother was 17 when she had me. She actually turned 18 the following day, so she was, I guess, officially 18. Yeah, she was a very young mother. She's worked for the post office for many years. Her and my dad both worked for the American Post Office for many years. Hard-working people. I'm the oldest of four people in my family, and I have a brother who's a hairdresser who lives in. He likes girls though. He lives in LA. He's very flamboyant sort of dude. You see him, you think he's like a Little Richard looking dude, but he's very flashy with the clothes and all that type of stuff. But he's a really cool guy. My brother Christopher, sister Ava, very beautiful girl, about 6'2". She has a daughter who's 6'4", who's a major volleyball player. Very attractive girl, very sweet girl. She was the only girl in the family. Then I have my youngest brother, Jermaine, who he does mechanic work and all that type of stuff. So I grew up in very humble beginnings. I picked up the game of basketball at the age of 10 years old, fell in love with it, and it just, it's been my passport to the world at this stage. I've been able to play professionally in, I think, 8 countries now, counting Argentina recently. I've been able to, learn about so many different cultures. It's been a real learning experience, being able to see places I never thought I would see, places I used to, read about in my history books. I'm actually, visiting these places. It's been a really, really, really good thing. But it's not all just about all the roses and the trophies and all the accolades. I've also had my ups and downs, just like you guys. I go through a lot of ups and downs as well too. I have my beautiful children. I have 8 children born in this country, so I've helped the population big time. Whenever you didn't find back then, whenever you didn't find me on the basketball court, you can find me, some Barry White music, making babies. My oldest daughter, Gemma is her name. She represented Queensland in basketball, great player. She's probably the best player out of all of us. She actually made a 4-point play in a game. She shot a 3-point play and shot a 3-pointer at the buzzer and got fouled in this one particular game and knocked the free throw down and won the game on a 4-point play. I've never done a 4-point play like that. So she has the bragging rights in the family. My son Archie, same height as me. Archie Smith, he played, represented the Brisbane with the Lions for 8 years. Up until last year, he played with the Brisbane Lions. His mom sort of steered him into that sort of field. He never played AFL prior to joining the Lions. He had to kind of learn the game on the go. He had the physical height as well as the physical athleticism to sort of make his way in that game. So Archie's now playing NBL 1. He played NBL 1 last year he went back to basketball. He played NBL 1 with the Pirates last year. I think he's going to sit out a year this year. He's actually married a lovely little lady, Sophie, whose family owned all of the national storages. Greek family done very well for himself. If nothing else goes wrong, he's done well, man. Done well for himself. Then I was married to an East African lady named Nadia. She's from a place called Eritrea. We were married for 17 years, and during that 17-year marriage, we had 5 children who were born. 5 beautiful children were born out of that marriage. So 4 of my children live in Melbourne, and 4 are up here in Brizzy. One son who's still here. Three of them are married and living, off their own. But the one son who lives with me, he's 19. He'll be 19 in a couple more days. He's on the autism spectrum. His name is Tariq. Very beautiful boy. Some of you guys, pretty much everyone would know what autism is all about. It's about, if you don't know, it's just basically about how would you describe it? I would say just a slower development. I think we're all on the autism. We're all on the spectrum when you think about it. Yeah, that's what I've been told. We're all on the spectrum. I know I have my little quirks and my little OCDs and stuff that I have to deal with from day to day. But some people on the spectrum need a little bit more help. This country has done an outstanding job in putting in place the NDIS program, which my son is a recipient of. He gets a lot of support. And he'll be transitioning at some stage down to Melbourne as well, too, to be with the rest of the family who are down there. So, Tariq is a beautiful boy, and that's my heart, my heart there. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was 4 things that can threaten our confidence. We all go through confidence issues. We all go through anxiety. We all go through, just life in general. I've been through. You spoke about divorce. Health issues. Men, while you're out there, make sure you get your checkups regularly. I went for a checkup on my heart recently. Just to make sure, just routine. I found out I have myocarditis, which is a disease that afflicts a lot of really tall people. Because you think about me being so tall, circulation could be an issue. Circulation, blood pumping through my body has to work extra harder than a smaller person. So just by going and getting a routine checkup, they were able to pick up on this particular issue that I have, which has actually killed a few former basketball players, guys that I looked up to. A guy by the name of Moses. Who's heard of Moses Malone?
Yeah.
played in the NBA, one of the great rebounders. He passed away from this particular heart issue. He had Anthony Mason, who played with the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
May they all rest in peace. He had Jerome Kersey, played with the Portland Trailblazers. We lost a lot of guys. Caldwell Jones from the Philadelphia 76ers. You know, all these guys, what we have in common, they were all about the same size as me, about 6'8", 6'9". But the thing about these guys, it was all sudden as well too. The thing about a lot of those guys is once they stopped playing, they became very sedentary. You know, just sitting around and all that, not as active. I stay active. You know, I like to you know, the team that I coach against, Hudson. That I'm the team owner. We call the Andres Challengers. I'm one of the players on the team, and I'm also a coach as well too. So wearing 3 hats all in one. I'm on the court coaching the guys, you know, and as well as, you know, behind the scenes as being an owner of a team. So just stay active, young fellas. You know, time will go just like that. Always stay active. Listen to your parents. Stay away from. You know, we had a very unfortunate incident that happened a few weeks ago out at Red Bank Plains, where 4 young people stabbed a 70-year-old lady. It was tragic. Her 6-year-old granddaughter watched the whole thing unfold. You know, our young people. You were talking about how, you know, things are looking kind of grim for us as a society. You know, parents, you know, we have a responsibility to look after the kids, but I know it's tough because the kids, we can't be with them all the time. We can only instill in them the best we can into our kids, and then hope that they do the right things out there. So rest in peace to that lovely lady who lost her life senselessly by some young kids, you know, using a knife to stab her for over a little raggedy I don't say raggedy car, it wasn't a Bugatti or anything like that. Just a little car that they took and they went honing it and all that. You know, so I want to use my platform to try to convince those type of kids to, you know, there's a better way in life. You know, that's what it's all about. Role modeling. Many years ago, Charles Barkley, the great Charles Barkley, said, "I'm not a role model." He had a point. He said what he was saying was, the role model should be the parents, you know, should be your family, you know, like your dad and your mom and all that. But we can't get around it. We as high-profile athletes the kids look up to what we do, you know. So we have to take on that responsibility as well as role models. It's very important. Speaking of Hudson's name, there's growing up in Chicago, there was some commercials. There was a couple of commercials, carpet commercials, that had one of them had your name. They had very, very, very catchy jingles. One of them was called Empire Carpet, and their jingle was both of them used their phone numbers as part of the jingle. And for Empire Carpet, it was 588-2300 Empire. So for Hudson, it was the other carpet company was Hudson 32700. Yeah, it was just, so as soon as I heard your name Hudson at one time, I was like, yeah, that's.
Let me hit you with a question.
Yeah, you got a question.
All right, so the beautiful thing about this breakfast is there's a few guys here, you'll notice a few grey hairs.
A few.
And I'm nearly 50, you're nearly 60. Yeah. There's a temptation that my best times are behind me. You know, I was a hero, I was great in your head. You know, you played in the NBA, you played in the NBL. Your best times are behind you. The youth is wasted on the young. You know, you said it goes by so quickly. There's guys here that, you know, the Black Dog also says, you know, your time's up, you're done, it's time to slow down. And one of the things I love about you, Andre, is I go to basketball and my son is 17 and I've got Carter here, I've got so many beautiful young boys here who are in the prime of their life. And they're playing against you and your boys. And I want to hand it to you for, you know, you're 59 years old and you've still got a turn, fade away, and it's always going in. I promise you. Like, I'm not just talking him up. It's always going in, and it's annoying every team he's playing on. You're still in the game, you're still influencing young people. There's guys here that'll never be you, but you can't be them. You can't influence who's in their world. What do you say to the guys that are getting grey? Quick shout out to Peter Thatcher from Wounded Heroes. You know, he's helping veterans whose heads are not right. He's doing so much in the community. How do I, as I get older, be like Peter Thatcher? How do I be like Andre Moore and not slow down? How do I find inspiration to do the next thing?
Good question, man.
I don't know. No, I just say, hey, just.
What have you gone through?
I'm going through a lot of adversity.
Low stuff.
Yes.
And you came.
Right. One of the lowest things I went through was actually being cut from the NBA, making it all the way to the mountaintop of my sport. After really, fighting, and pushing hard to get there as a junior and as a college player and all that, and then you get all the way up there, and then I made it all the way to the point where I signed a contract with the Denver Nuggets, and then there was this one day with 10 games into the season, we were about to play the Portland Trailblazers, and I'm in the locker room, the first one in, get dressed, and I'm getting ready and all that, and here comes the coaching staff. Pete Babcock, who was the general manager, and I forget the coach's name. I don't want to remember his name. They come walking in, and they had these forlorn looks on their faces. I'm like, man, what's wrong with those guys? And then they hit me with those cutting words. Andre, we gotta let you go. And I'm like 18, 19 years old at that time, and I'm like, wow, what? I just got here, I'm just getting comfortable. I was just starting to get a taste of the whole lifestyle, There was, the car, the women, the cars, the money, all that. But it wasn't meant for me to be. But at the time, it was hurt. I was, you almost hear my heart just kind of crushing at the time. But what I did was, I had this strong internal fortitude about myself that made me basically get up off the floor and get back up on the horse and just say, okay, that's done. On to the next thing. It was just an internal thing with me. It's just not something I can actually give you the formula for. Y'all know, have you guys seen the movie Space Jam with the first one with Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
When he's in the locker room, they're playing against the One Stars, and at the halftime they get their butts kicked, and they thought they had this secret stuff in this bottle, but it was just water really turned out to. So there's no secret stuff, that you can do to turn things around, but just try to stay as positive. Friends. We talk about best friends. That was a major thing. I got a best friend, Philip, who I grew up with since kindergarten, who we still keep in touch with each other. And I thank guys like Steve Jobs for coming up with the technology to give us the ability to talk to each other face to face, on the phone and all that. And we're still great friends, and we lean on each other for comfort when we have ups and downs and all that. So that's one of the things that really keeps me going as well too. And then I just try to be as disciplined as possible as well too, when it comes to looking after myself. Make sure I get as much sleep as I can. I know some of you have jobs where it might not be possible to take little naps from time to time. Drink plenty of water. I have a glass of red every once in a while. But other than that, I'm alcohol free. I do little things discipline-wise, like if I'm in front of the couch having a meal. After I finish eating that meal, I don't just put the plate down and finish watching my program, whatever. I'll jump up straight away and go wash that dish straight away, just to discipline myself to staying active and moving and not procrastinating, being a procrastinator. If you don't know what procrastination is, I'll tell you about it later, okay? But Hey, somebody picked up on that. Thank you. Yeah. So just trying to push yourself as best you can and leaning on people and not being afraid to speak with each other. You know, as men, we're hunters, we're gatherers, we have this sort of innate thing about us where we don't need to talk about things. We deal with it ourselves. We're tough and all that, but don't be afraid to talk to other men about stuff. About issues you have. Go out, and talk to your mate about it. Don't be afraid to cry. Sometimes you got to let it all out. When things are going tough. My kids, having 8 kids, you're gonna have varying personalities and different issues that arise, particularly with the girls, the boys as well too. But the girls can, you got to keep them. I had my daughter, Mona Marie. She's a perfect example. Beautiful soul, beautiful person. When she went to high school at Forest Lake High School, as soon as she gets to high school, she breaks out with this really bad rash all over her body, all over her face, everything. It was eczema. We couldn't find any sort of cure for it. The poor thing just went through 4 years of just the most, her self-esteem and self-image issues were just so down. It broke my heart what she was going through, And then as soon as she graduates, we finally came up with the right non-steroidal creams and all that made her skin clear up and all that. And she's flying high now. She was actually on a billboard off of Ipswich Road for a company called Catch.com. Anybody heard of Catch.com? They do these little gadgets and all that. She was the poster girl for a gadget called a dash cam. The car dash cam. And what Catch.com does, they use different celebrities and to promote their stuff or to celebrity names. So for her, she was the Kim Kardashian girl because that was the little slogan they went with. But to see her in all her glory with her face cleared up and her hair out and everything, and they're taking photos with her by this billboard off Ipswich Highway, and the billboards are everywhere. But we just happened to, Ipswich Highway is the closest where the billboard was. It was just the most beautiful thing. So she was able to come up from all that adversity, and now she's flying high. She's doing a lot of influential stuff on social media and doing some great things. So I'm really proud of her that she was able to. So there's going to be dark times. That's my point. It's going to be dark time, but things are always going to be better. And always remember that somebody's always doing a little bit worse than you are. I've been through. I've been at times where I've had times where I was, I had, little money in my account, and I was able to overcome that, and it wasn't a big. So for me, it's not a big deal if I was to go from being wealthy to not having, because I started off, I know what it feels like to not have, so it's not a big deal, and I know that things will get better and better if you just stay positive and work hard and do all the right things. I really admire the Aussie Australian way where everybody sort of looks after each other, and that's the beautiful thing about being in this country. Everybody's sort of rolling their sleeves up. Whenever there's some sort of natural disaster or whatever, everybody's there looking for each other. I'm sure I've heard you've had some issues here with flooding and all that type of thing. Everybody, a lot of guys here probably helped you out over the years.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's that's anybody got any questions? Yeah.
Any questions for Andre? Very shy bunch.
Very
Andre,
bunch.
can you still dunk?
Nah. That was my thing in basketball, slam dunking the ball, especially over people. That was the best thing to dunk on somebody and then, brag about it, whatever. But I snapped my Achilles a couple years ago. Actually going for a dunk. I was pushed off my left foot here, and I heard this sound. It was like a starter pistol, pow! And I realized, man, then you look around, you think it feels like somebody kicked you, and then you realize, oh man, I just done my Achilles, and you just fall like a sack of potatoes, So the Achilles is, as you guys are well aware, is a very important part of the foot. It controls the whole foot. So after getting surgery, a few days for that, it was a whole year on the shelf. And once I came back, that kind of, I can touch the rim now, but as far as dunking, maybe that rim right there, I'll be okay with. That one there, nah, I don't think so. It's not worth it.
All right, well, we're not really convinced. You know, you're getting old, you can't dunk anymore. Maybe, oh, very nice. Well, I've got a guy here named Harry Wright. I think potentially he's a better baller than you ever were. All the boys down there in the back there. Is that you, Jacob? Yeah. Can you grab under the tarp? Go grab that for me with 3 friends. You need 3 friends. Keep going, Lance.
I don't know, I haven't been to King's Cross in a while. Is it still a pretty wild place to be?
No, not as much.
So in part of the language of some of the stuff I'll be talking, we were walking down, me and the players are walking down King's Cross, and there's, we noticed there was a commotion, there was police and, by this alleyway, the ambulance and everything, there had been a homicide. And because we're tall, we were able to look over the alleyway, look over everybody and find, oh man. There's a guy laying passed away on his stomach, no clothes on. And he had a spoon sticking straight up out of his bum.
What?
And there was some stuff on him, there was some stuff foaming out of his mouth that they later found out was Weet-Bix, right?
Ugh.
And somebody had stuck a bowl in his head that they couldn't get off. I go, me being the curious one, I went up to the lead detective and asked him, man, what happened? What happened here? He's like, oh man, we think it might have been the work of the infamous serial killer.